Well, starting in the close season, we saw Phil Neville leave. Can you just say a few words about his time at United?
Well, it was one of the most difficult events of this club over the years. That we had a young player that grown up in the club. He was a fanatical United fan. He loved the club, and it was a situation which I think he got to the point where utility wasn't enough for him, and this is sometimes a difficulty when a player can play positions and you use him in different roles, but he doesn't establish himself in a particular position. And over the years, Philip experienced all that, and I think he got to the point where he says, "No, I want a regular game, a regular position." So we had a long chat at my home about the situation, and we decided that maybe the best thing was for him to get a regular game with another club. And it was very sad because, and the parting of the ways between a player who's devoted to the club and a manager who's, myself, has seen him as a kid come to the club and enjoying all the great times we had. It was very sad for me, very difficult for me too. But it was, I don't think there's any question that in time he will always regarded as one of our great players.
Oh, absolutely. But you brought in some new players. First of all, Jisung Park. He's had a great season.
Jisung has been fantastic. We'd actually, our scouting in Holland had told us about him the previous season. It says this is a boy we should be keeping an eye on. He's developing very quickly. He'd come from South Korea to PSV. His first season was, and probably just a development year. But the next season, that was last season when I went to see him play 2 or 3 times, he was excellent. You could see the improvement. And at 24 years of age, it was the right time to get a young player like that. And as you said, he's had a fantastic season for us. He's a real team player. His vision of passing is terrific. His awareness of space in the pitch is terrific. And all in all, he's been a real revelation to the team. And I think, particularly in games away from home, where his non-stop running has given us that an extra edge in terms of movement, he's been excellent.
And another new signing is Edwin van der Sar. What impact did he bring to the team?
He's been fantastic, terrific. His experience, his personality, he's been there. He's won his championships. He's won the European Cup with Ajax. He's 115 caps or something like that with Holland. And I think that probably I made a mistake going back a few years before he went to Juventus. I should have taken him then, but there was a complication in terms of we had agreed to take a goalkeeper, Mark Bosnich, at that time. So unfortunately we didn't get Edwin at that point.
Moving on to the season, August was a great month, unbeaten, hadn't conceded. That must have been the start you'd wanted.
Well, it was in some ways, but we'd gone to the Far East for a pre-season, and Saha picked up an injury which kept him out for over 4 months. That was a bad start for us. We came back and Gary Neville was starting to have problems with his groin again, so we decided to give him the operation which kept him out for 3 months. So that wasn't the best of starts in terms of the injury situation, but the good start gave us optimism that we could go and challenge this week. And I think the material we had points that way without question. What we didn't anticipate is the oncoming injury crisis that hit us. First of all, we lost Quinton Fortune for the whole season. Then we lost Roy with his metatarsal, cracked bone in the foot. Then and the blow of Gabby Hines against Villarreal, which put him out for the rest of the season. So by the end of September, or the middle of September, we'd in effect were minus 6 players. So that was very disappointing for us. And of course, at that particular point, going into October and November, our form was pretty, ordinary, I think. And the most disappointing thing of all was the form in the Champions League, where we've always done incredibly well in the group stage. We were very disappointing. Disappointing in the number of goals we scored, And the performance against Benfica in the return game over there for the last game of the group was really very, very disappointing. And it was certainly at that point it was a crossroads really. Bit by bit we started to get one or two players back. Gary was back for the Benfica game actually. It was his only second match, but it was worth it to play with his experience to try to play him anyway. Louis Saha was starting to get fit again. He was able to play in the League Cup game against West Bromwich Albion, which was, and he got a goal, which was great. So out of the dark always comes a bit of light, and as December went on, we started to progress a little bit. And I think, you know, the form since the new year has been absolutely fantastic.
Well, moving on to November. First of all, you beat Chelsea, and the press thought that they were invincible just as they thought Arsenal were the year before, and yet United proved them wrong again.
Well, I think it only proves that when the stakes are raised, and it doesn't matter who we play, we can always raise our game to a level that it wins matches. We've had some fantastic successes in situations where people say, yeah, we'll get United at Old Trafford, we're playing so well, you know, we're not afraid going up there, you know, the usual diatribe comes out. But it proves once again that when the chips are down, we can produce. There's no question about that.
Following that came the announcement Roy Keane was to leave. Can you just pay tribute to his time at United?
Oh, he's a fantastic player. He's, I think that the distinction of Roy in terms of what I always used to say he was the best player I ever had is just that he was the most influential. He was a driving force for the club for a decade. His desire and obsession of winning was incredible. And that marked him down as a very special player. Yes, there have been more talented players under my reign at the club. Eric Cantona and Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes. But the overall package from Roy has been absolutely tremendously influential in all the successes we've had here. He was a fantastic character also. So he was a loss, but you know, I think that Roy's got big ambitions to do well in life, and I think he'll do that.
In December, you handed Gary Neville the captain's armband. What's the choice for that? Because I know you probably had a few other players in mind as well.
Oh, he threatened me. There were several players, obviously, but I think Gary is a great example of the Roy Keane type of spirit. Totally devoted to our club, committed in every game. His preparation is absolutely amazing. I mean, players kid him on about it, and he's obsessed. He's a man that's obsessed with playing well for Manchester United. And he's at a good age, you know, he's 30, 31 now. I don't think there was anyone really came anywhere near Gary's talents in terms of captaining the club.
So what for next season then?
Well, I think we've put our marker down. I think the young team is developing. We have some excellent young players in the club, and what we need is maturity and consistency. I think we saw that against Sunderland, just that lack of experience. When the chips were down in the last 20 minutes, a bit of lack of composure. But you can't expect from young players mature performances all the time, unfortunately. And that's the point I made earlier in the season. With the young players, you get inconsistency. But they're getting better. Ronaldo's getting better, Rooney's getting better, Kieran Richardson, John O'Shea, all these players are improving. We brought in two terrific young defenders, in Vidic and Evra. I'm very happy with the squad now.
Do you have a favourite goal of the season?
That's a good one. Favourite goal? Now you hit me. Now you've got me.
I'll tell you mine, it's Rio's against Liverpool.
Well, that was an important one, a great header, of course. It's difficult to say. I always think they were all great. This was at the back of the onion bag. I'm quite happy with that.
Finally, can we just ask how Ollie is?
Ollie's doing great. He was on the bench in the game against Sunderland. Came on for a bit. He travelled down to London with us, but always was fit to be on the bench. But he's doing great, and I'm absolutely confident he'll be back next year.